It's the best time of the
Well done, happy holidays and all that good stuff.
I just work here.
Today we've got Ken Block with us.
Well, I got a text from Brian recently that was like, make this list. Include a bunch of your stuff in there so you can talk about it. I felt weird about that, but as I started making the list, I ended up with a bunch of that stuff because it is some of my favorite stuff, because I get stoked when we come up with a simple idea and we go do it and execute it in a really good way, and sometimes it comes out better than I even expect.
I'm actually really curious to see what you stack up, even if it's yours.
Okay. Well, I'll start with one of mine just because, I thought it was a very interesting piece that we were able to produce some content for Ford and do a DT at the same time. So it was actually great to be able to do a produced car porn piece and produce the behind the scenes sort of storyline of the car too through the DT.
Right.
And that was the RS200. This thing is quick, and it's frightening, because it's such a big turbo and it comes on in such an aggressive manner.
Cut to in-car, a proper fear in this man's face. While driving on canyons, it wasn't even that nuts, and it was just proper fear.
So I thought that was a really good way to deliver the sort of things that we like to see. The DT is a great way to really talk through a vehicle and really give the inside scoop on a lot of the things with it. And then the piece that we did for Ford Performance was the RS200 and the Focus RS together.
Yep.
And my whole thing with that was I just wanted to produce car porn of those cars, especially the RS200, that you just never see that car beautifully driving on the road.
Right.
That car is literally my dream car. And I don't say that because I'm sponsored by Ford. I literally say that because I was a kid when the groupie era was at its height, and that's part of the era of why I love stage rally.
Right.
So, for me to own one of those today, it's just one of the coolest things I could possibly own.
You own your poster car.
Yeah.
You literally own the car that you stared at.
Yeah. And not only that, we've been able to take it and modernize it a little bit with wheels and tires and suspension and the flat black within the gloss stripes that are from that era of racing, all that sort of stuff. So anyway, to have that car be my dream car and then produce those pieces and to be able to walk around with you guys and really talk through the entire car and educate maybe a whole set of people that have known nothing about stage rally, nothing about the goopy era of cars. That was just a really cool thing for me.
It was a learning thing for me, that's for sure, because I didn't really grow up around Group B or anything like that. As you said, I'm a little one-minded. Next on the list.
Next on the list is actually a quite recent one.
Which one is that?
The Starion. And I know I call it the Starion. I know it's called something else.
Conquest.
Yeah.
This is not like a race car. It's like really nice.
Yeah,
It smells really nice.
You know what? Did you find this guy at SEMA? Did you find this guy at SEMA?
I rolled by him on the scooter
Yeah.
when I did my roll by.
This is the ultimate street car.
Well,
So that's
This is like the
it would have
ultimate
been,
car.
but I broke it. But it's one of them.
I really liked that car when it came out. Like I liked that era and those shapes
Yeah.
and that one. I don't know. I enjoyed that design era of that car. It just was the epitome of kind of that boxy flair and the angled front end, all that stuff. And I thought that that guy, the whole story of how he built that car himself and all the little design bits on it, he just did an exceptional job. I literally watched that and I was like, we should hire this guy to do a project. like he just did such a good job. Really impressed by that entire build and the thought that went into it and the fact that he did it himself.
All of that, and he was willing to shred tires. The only reason I know about those cars is because in the sea of 240s back home where I started drifting, there was one guy drifting a Starion.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it was always blowing up, but he was always coming back.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I know about those cars, but I like them too. That car especially.
Yeah. And another one that kind of ties into that, you know, this ties directly into what you just said. Like, he's willing to drive and drive it hard.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoyed Matt Farah's car. He didn't care about how much horsepower it had. It was about how it handled, and he went out and drove the piss out of it and had fun with it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the epitome of like my mentality with cars.
It's
Like,
literally should be everyone's, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I've had expensive cars and actually got rid of them because I wanted a cheaper car to go beat the crap out of.
yeah. Simple cars also equal fun.
Yeah. So that was one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah.
Another one, like I said, back to some of the stuff that we did together was the field trip. And this is not a DT, but it's a field trip. But it's the X3s that we took out to that little airport and tried driving Gymkhana with them. You know, it's one of those things you think, I wonder if this will work, you know? Don't know. So we just have to try. And literally before we showed up there to drive them like that, we hadn't tried it, you know?
We went with that whole shoot. We winged it.
Yeah. But it worked and it worked well. Sometimes those things don't work out well. But, you know, from, you know, finding that cool little airport to bringing Ellis out and like seeing Ellis's reaction when we told him what he got to do, and like that was just a really good time. That was a fun day. I thought the piece, even when I first saw how long it was, I was like, holy crap, that's long. But it turned out really well. It's really funny. Like I don't know, I just really enjoyed that one.
Okay, now I get it. I think I'm gonna be really bad at this.
I loved watching Ellis pilot that thing.
you got it.
Yeah.
Yo, that was a beautiful run.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That was. We had a lot of fun that day.
All right, so the complete opposite of that. You know, I always tell Brian that we don't use his car enough here. You know, and so I mean, when I was a kid, like, you know, there's flares and then there's race flares. You know, and the 80s and 90s, especially the 80s, though, you really saw, like, you know, some of the, like, you know, endurance racing, that sort of thing, or Le Mans, that sort of thing, where they were taking these Porsches and just putting huge wings on them and flares and all that stuff. And I loved that stuff as a kid. And so Brian's car, the RW Porsche, is just like the epitome of that.
The seat sits super far back, so if you even look, it's lower and farther back than the passenger seat. Be able to fit in the car on track, be somewhat straight leg, be able to heel toe, and have a helmet on. I couldn't do that before, so.
When he finished that car, I was like, dream car of like my childhood, you know, like want to play with that like as a Hot Wheel. And so I've always pushed him here to do more with it, burnouts, drive it, race it, whatever we can do with it. You know?
On today's episode of Things You Shouldn't Do in a Priceless 911.
Time to make the donuts.
What's next?
The funny thing about doing all those pieces and doing them here, I think that it's all about personalities, it's about content, and it's about finding those right things that make sense. And I thought Shikar was a really good project.
Yeah.
And I thought kind of the whole process of like where you guys went with it was really funny. But the epitome of it to me was just the Lambo doors. It was so simple. And it was so like the meter's here with everything we've done. Let's just take it
Let's crank it up enough.
one more step. I thought that was the point where it really reached like the maximum level.
See, this is where your childhood and your DTM and all kinds of box flare / big wing wide fender cars were your dream car. Well, shit car became my dream car, and I decided that we needed Lambo doors because my era was Lambo doors and neon lights. That's so that's why shit car has Lambo doors.
So real quick, back to the stuff with me, the Mark II Escort and the Kazi. Both those things, two of my favorite Fords that we actually did DTs with this year. And that's actually one of the first times I actually did the all-wheel drive donuts with that car.
Yeah.
So to do it here in the kind of semi-tight space in a car I didn't know, that was a bit of a challenge.
I have a hard time not crashing cars doing donuts with only two wheels spinning. So for you to do that, that was quite. I've never seen a car move like that in such a tight space. It was crazy.
So I'm really stoked on the car. We're using it for Gymkhana 10. I'm actually going to test it some more tomorrow on some upgrades for it.
Awesome.
On tarmac, and then the day after that I get to do some stage rally testing with it on gravel.
That's really
so
what
for
you
me
wanted
it's a
to.
good cause.
Yeah.
And then the Mark II, I mean, you know, the 78 Ford Escort as a rally car is just a really fun car.
The one thing about Ken and Hurt that they have in common is zero mechanical sympathy. He calls it just ain't care. It's just breaking shit for her.
Lightweight,
Yeah.
really easy to predict, you know, with rear, you know, the rear wheels, what it's going to do, how it's going to pop back.
Yeah.
The thing about those cars is like, those are cars I know so well because of stage rally.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't know them, especially here in the States, because they were European only cars. So it's cool to bring those cars here and walk through them like that to educate more people
Right.
about the cars that I really
To
love.
our mostly American fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
Spreading the gospel
Yeah.
of rally cars.
All right, 2 more twin turbo diesel donuts. So
Old Smoky.
that thing, when I first saw it online, just photos of it, I was like, "Damn, that's a really good build." Like, I loved the idea, obviously, with the Hoonigan of taking something old and putting modern equipment in it. And obviously, for me, putting the all-wheel drive and in the Hoonigan was something, you know, lots of people put engine stuff in Mustangs, but to do the all-wheel drive thing was totally different. But to see like that diesel unit done in a unique way, I
Yeah.
really liked their whole setup.
It was a beautiful machine. Chuckles Garage did a crazy job with
Yeah.
Old Smoky. It's a, like you said, a fantastic build, and on top of it, he's not afraid to throw it around.
That's one of those moments that was like, all this stuff's really coming together. What I like to see, and you guys are making it happen here.
And the fun fact about that episode is it's 100% our biggest video, daily transmission video of all time. That video transcended all others because it's such a unique build, and the guy drives it hard as all hell. So, what's up, Chuckles? Here's a trophy for winning daily transmission 2017. Last but not least,
I can't remember if this was, I guess it was, Forza cars.
Forza cars. Yeah, that was a DT episode.
Yeah, so like, I just thought it was amazing that not only have they taken my cars and put them in, but taking like other cars from here and having a whole pack. Yeah.
It's so crazy to see our cars in this game because these are all our personal cars. Like the Hoonigan makes sense. It was a 2-year build, and we, you know, deliberated on every little piece of it to make it that perfect car. These are the cars that we've built in our spare time. It's like we literally built these cars in this building at night.
And the pack was really successful.
Yeah.
Like that's really cool that not only the stuff that I do, but the stuff as a collective has been taken and put into a video game like that.
Your car had the fastest acceleration and the fastest top speed. My car had the most angle out of any other cars. John's car could do wheelies like that. Like all the cars had special features that kind of cater to what the car does. So that's definitely one of my top moments too. That's sick.
Yeah, so I enjoyed like the storytelling of that one, but also it makes, just for an interesting moment for me, like in my life of doing all this stuff, that like what we've created here with Hoonigan, because it's not just me, it's like the collective everybody here and what we're working together doing, and it someone like Forza takes notice, is like, hey, as a collective, we like what you guys all do together,
Yeah.
and we want to take that togetherness and put it in this video game where you have stuff from the Hoonigan, you know, the John's car. Like
Yeah.
it's like a
Exactly.
variety that is very, very cool.
It's a huge mix, and you all get to enjoy it. So.
Yeah. That's my list.
So I'm gonna give you a little secret. If you don't walk off camera, they won't stop recording. So just
Well, we have to go do a burnout.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, I wonder. I don't. Just leave. Just leave.
Yeah.
Just leave.